Yo, what's poppin', everybody? Welcome back to the podcast, another episode of Caffeine and Green with your man, Quantal Langford. Before we get into it today, I just want to make sure that all of you guys head on over to www.caffeineandgreenroasting.com today to check out all of the coffees that you can purchase from Caffeine and Green Roasting, which is the Issa blend, of course, which is dark, chocolatey, and bold. We got that single origin Tarim Tanzania, which is a little bit light, a little bit of a lighter roast, and it's inspired by my homegirl, Leof Clockley. Also known as that Victory Lap. And then also the newest release, which is a collab bag with Shieldless Skateboard Magazine, which is called The Morning Sesh. And it is definitely one of my personal favorites. It's a single origin Huila, Colombia. Definitely juicy citrus, and it's got a little bit of a guava mouthfeel. So it's super good. And guys, so head on over to www.caffeineandgreenroasting.com today. Also, I wanted to give a huge shout out and thank you to all of my homies over at Steel Mill Coffee in Oceanside, California. If it wasn't for all of my amazing homies, Giles, Lil C, Riley, Anna, and of course, my homeboy Shay, we would not have a place to do the podcast every single week. And this is where I'm doing the intros right now. So, guys, thank you to everybody over at Steel Mill. If you haven't already, head on over there. Come by. We off Mission Ave here in Oceanside, California. Come in, get a great coffee, say what up to the homies. I know they'd love to see you. All right. My guest today is no stranger to the podcast. Of course, I'm talking about my homeboy, Quantal Langford. Quantal is an amazing man. He is a wrestler, a jiu-jitsu practitioner, a coach. He does design. He does branding. He also has an amazing podcast called The Creative Brew. And we've talked about all this. He's been on the podcast before, so it's a return time. And I've been on his show 3 times, I think we talked about. So yeah, he's a good homie. I really love this conversation. It's never dull, and he's so positive, and he's just has amazing things to say. So without further ado, my homeboy, Quantal Langford. This your time to shine, homie. Let's go. Give me caffeine and green. It's your boy Connor. What's good? Good. Caffeine and green. And we are live. Quantal Langford. Welcome back to Caffeine and Green, sir.
Thank you. Glad to be back.
Yes, dude. We were just talking about this before the podcast. I was like, dude, so it's like the 3rd time you've been on. You're like, no, I've only been on once. And I was like, oh, because of the fact that I've been on your show now 3 times, right? One individual and then 2 roundtables.
Yeah.
And for people who don't know who you are, what's the name of your show that I've been on?
It's called the Creative Brew.
The Creative Brew. That's right. Yes.
Yep.
I really like that name. I still like that name a lot. And it's like just, again, for people who don't know who you are, I would definitely like to do just like a little reintroduction because, dude, you started out doing a podcast, The Creative Brew, and you were doing it at Panels right up the street.
Yep.
Here in Oceanside, which is like a comic book cafe, if you will.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yep.
Okay. So it was a comic book cafe, and then we would do it there. And like the first time I did your show, you had like cameras, and we did a video for it and stuff, right?
Yep.
And it was a really good conversation, and it kind of continued on from like what we had built when you came on the show originally.
Yeah.
What happened next was like the pandemic hit, and then you actually did a Creative Brew roundtable via Zoom.
Yeah.
That was like there was like 8 people, right?
Yeah.
It was like a couple women, and I think your sister was on there. It was like a father son.
Well, it was my cousin. My cousin that was on there. And then father son that and all of them I've pretty much had on the podcast in their respective episodes.
Yeah.
So.
That's dope. So then that was one, and then we actually did another one, and that was at where you're at now, which is what I wanted to talk about. Is now you're at this place, right? Again, here in Oceanside, called the Kobo Pod, like COBO, Kobo Pod.
Yep.
And it is a beautiful space. It is a professional podcast studio.
Yep.
Is that correct?
Yes.
And dude, I mean, you invited me out, and it was, I think before we got shut down the first time, like it was like we reopened and then we got shut down again.
Yeah.
So it was like right before we got shut down again, right?
Yep.
People were starting to come out, and then I met Logan and I met Reese.
Yeah.
And that was our roundtable. and I have to say that was quite the experience. I was kind of tripping because of how beautiful the studio was, and then like you had the dude who was like the producer, and then there was like that kid walking around with those shooting photos, and I was like, damn, this is so profesh. Quantal's killing it.
No, I get that all the time. Like I'll get everybody I bring on and be like, man, it's like I record my podcast like from my phone, or it's like I was like I come in here and it's like it's all high professional and everything.
Dude, there's lighting too.
Yeah.
Like damn son, I'm surprised there's not somebody doing makeup.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll be doing that pretty soon. They got some other things they've got in the works, but yeah, it wouldn't surprise me that they start having their own makeup, and style, choreographer and everything else there. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Like I said, they've been a great partner of mine, and I try to throw out shout outs every time that I can, and they've helped me out, and it's I really think it's sort of picked up the production quality of the podcast, and like I said, I've got some bigger things, some aspirations for the show, and where I want to see it go. But yeah, man, I'm always appreciative. I even with panels, I'm appreciative of them. I still every once in a while I may come back in and do like some little solo episodes. Now I think now they're starting to lighten up on the restrictions a little bit. Where I know with some coffee shops they're letting people come in and sit. So I've had some people ask me if they wanted to come back, and if they want me to come back and record it panel. So I plan on doing that back in the in the future, and but I still give shout outs to them all the time. They've been there since the beginning, and but yeah, it's still growing. So.
Dope. How did the whole thing with CoboPod come up? Like, how did that?
2020.
Just 2020.
It's just yeah. It was just one of those where. Yeah, I mean, because their main brand is Kobo Bottle, and they create sustainable water bottles and for organizations, for different programs, and but yeah, it was one of those where 2020 hit, and trying to figure out a way to repivot and sort of transition, and how could they adapt with the times, and yeah, Logan had the ideal about creating a podcast studio out of it, and I thought it was perfect. He talked to me about it. I thought it was perfect, and yeah, he sort of started off with certain things at the beginning, and then it just started quickly expanding from there, and then now they're booking different people that's doing their shows and stuff there, and
really,
yeah, so yeah, really kicking it up now. I know ideally for me, I've got my biggest plan, even in the beginning of the show, was to travel. I love to travel, but I love connecting with people. But being able to travel and promote certain coffee shops or businesses, and talk to local creators about their work, about the culture, about the city, and so even now they've got a little thing now to where it's a possibility for me to sort of go on the road and go out and connect to different local businesses, probably up and down the coast or wherever. So I definitely had gotten that big to where I'm going all over the country, but at least now it's starting to get to where I can go out and travel and put the Creative Brew out, everywhere. So those are things that, I'm trying to do with the show now. Even with the art festival starting to pick back up, I've been getting contacted now to try to do more, potentially do more podcast episodes at certain art festivals, and
do like a live podcast.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
wow.
So and bringing on different artists there, sort of talking about their work, what they're selling. I think now I've really been really passionate. Not aside from all the things that I'm doing, I'm really passionate about helping creators and people doing their own thing. How through my capacity, how could I help you out? And that's something that I'm really, I'm really trying to focus on, and trying to figure out ways to sort of help them out. And at the same time, too, I'm always learning new things, and the best way for me is to experiment with something that works or don't work, and sort of share that knowledge to maybe another artist or designer or creator that's trying to do their own thing, and help them out. So
maybe giving them the giving them an alternative viewpoint,
yeah,
if you will.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yep.
Damn, is that did people just like hear about your show and they're like, hey, do you want to do this? Or did you contact them and say, hey, I have my own show. This is what I do. And they're like, oh, dope. That'd be like really cool if you could come talk to our artists.
I think it's I think it's been really a natural evolution. I think right now it's just it's one of those to where once people get get the wind of it, or like, hey, like we happen to talk and it's like, hey, well, I got a podcast, and like, well, what's your podcast about? And so I'll tell them, and then once they hear a few of the episodes, like, oh, I like how you're sort of mixing a lot of things. And I tell a lot of people, my main profession, I'm in design and branding, but I probably had maybe one episode about design or branding on the show. So a lot of times I try to mix all the different concepts and aspects that I love, and try to mix it into something that that's entertaining and inspiring and helps others. So
that's awesome, dude. I love that. I think that's been probably one of the best things about getting to know you, especially over the last like, I don't know, it would be sad to say about like 2 years.
Yeah,
dude, you're always just, you have such a positive outlook on life, but it's not even that it's just positive. It's like you're driven. You know what I mean? Like you have a drive. You're very humble. You're very like low key, but you're also like, it's almost like you're strategic. Like, you know what I mean? But it's like you've grown a lot. I mean, from the first time that we met at 7 C's, and you like bring in these coffee cups, and you're like so detailed with art, and you're doing all these things, but like your main passion is like design and branding or whatever. Yeah. But you also are doing like we talk about this ad nauseum on the show, especially when I just talked to you. Sorry, it's like the wrestling and jiu-jitsu aspect. I mean, we got to. I don't think we talked about it on your show, but dude, we rolled right before the pandemic. Like, finally rolled. But you were like, dude, you're strong, but you were like definitely like you could tell you were a wrestler. Yeah. And I was like, oh, dude, I could totally tell you're a wrestler, because like even though like your stance, you had this like very like. I don't know how you call it, but just like a wide leg stance. Yeah. And you look like you're just ready to sprawl at any moment. Dude, it was dope. But like, what I mean by this is that like I think one of my favorite things about you is that because I imagine you're so good at wrestling and jiu-jitsu, these like high pressure situations. Yeah. Like when you're doing these things that are not physically harming to you, it's like, oh, yeah, this is fine. Yeah, you're not even busting or breaking a sweat. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's one of definitely, especially with entrepreneurship and trying to run your own brand and build a business. I mean, you're always gonna have your ups and downs. There's gonna be times where you're stressed out. You're uncomfortable with certain things. You're uncertain with certain things, but. I think for the most part, I think with wrestling and jiu-jitsu, it's really, taught me even more now. At wrestling and jiu-jitsu, they're always teaching me something, and it's really taught me how to be more, be more mindful, be more present in certain situations, and knowing that. There's gonna have you're gonna have your good days, you're gonna have your bad days, and really the only thing literally you can control is right now in that present moment. Mm-hmm. How do you want to respond to certain situations? So that is literally the only thing you can control in life. Once you figure that out, you do you. It's. I mean, it can be, it's one of those where I can think about the future and be like, oh, I hope this happens, or how come I hadn't got this yet, or think about the past and feel like, I wish I would have made this decision, or I wish I would have done that. No, what can you do right now that's gonna, change, that's gonna change your outlook on life right now. So I think once you figure that out, and you know that, hey, look, the only thing you can control is right now, and that sort of correlates back to jiu-jitsu and wrestling. You start to think too far along, you're gonna get caught into something. Not to say you want to be strategic, but you want to be very present with what you're doing positionally, where you're at, leverage wise. How much force you're applying. Are you applying too much force? Or are you selling back too much? It's always gonna be some kind of balance somewhere, and I think the more that you do jiu-jitsu and you practice jiu-jitsu and you're practicing wrestling, you figure out real quick that you can be in a good situation or a good position, and it may take you a lot of effort to get to where you need to go to, or you can be in a great position and you can slow down and not do nothing and wait. And that is some of the biggest things that I've learned, practicing jiu-jitsu and wrestling.
Yeah. I mean, that definitely correlates to, or translates to life. I would just say, in so many levels, I mean, just to be patient with, a business deal or like, I emailed this person like 3 times. Like, why haven't they hit me back yet? It's like, or something. It's like, this is serious kind of thing. But it's like, same thing. It's like, if you're going to just jump the gun, this person got my back. It's like, oh, fuck, it's over. It's like, no, it's not over. You just got to protect your neck. Yeah. Know what you're doing. Know their body position. Know what's going to happen. Don't spaz.
Yep.
Use your leverage, like you said, like bump your hips. Just try to get out of the way at some point. But it's like, you have to slow down. You have to understand the balance that there's going to be in life in general. So, I mean, what got you to start the Creative Brew? Like, for that first moment, like you're self-taught, right? You didn't do this before?
No. And I mean, I've done like a workshop on this stuff. Like, people ask me all the time, like, how'd you start your podcast? Like, you just start it. You get a camera or you get a phone and you look online and you just experiment, figure out what works, what doesn't work. Obviously get advice from others that's coming along. But, you just do it. That's the first step. But it's just one of those where I had no experience whatsoever. My big thing is, I was with my wife and we was at a brewery and, I was just sitting along and for me personally, I had a hard time. I'd probably call myself an introvert. Once you get to know me, I'm very laid back. We can talk about whatever. But that initial like, hey, my name is Quantal, and such and such. I was like, okay, what if I could find a way to network and to reach out to all these people, and at the same time, highlight them as well as maybe local businesses or breweries or coffee shops. So I was sitting there writing it down on a piece of napkin. I was like, and. I was like, okay, we're at a brewery. I love coffee. I like wine. I like the process. And I was like, well, how about the Creative Brew? And so that it sort of just stuck. And
you asked your wife. She was like, no, that's dope.
Yeah. And she thought it was a good idea. And I was like, let me run along with some other people and see what they think. And they was like, it's like, that's awesome. At the time, I was like, no one's doing that right now. And so I was like, well, all right, just I have to execute on it. So, finding a person that helped me out initially, and we got some episodes going at panels. I talked to panels, but hey, look, if I did some shout outs for you, to promote my podcast, would I be able to record in here? And they're like, yeah, sure. So I'm very grateful for them allowing me to do that. And went ahead and got started. Had a digital camera. Had a guy helping me out. We recorded some episodes and started producing them, and then it went from there. First episode was, I look back, it was like, just it's night and day now. But, from that first episode to episode, I just recorded episode 94.
Damn, 94, dude.
Yeah.
Oh,
so getting there,
that's
but
tight. That was right before this podcast.
Yeah. So it's one of those where. You just figure out a way to just get started, and you just stay consistent. When you get consistent, the quality is going to come after. You just have to get consistent first.
You have to learn the process, learn all the little ins and outs.
Yeah.
Learn basically the basics.
Yeah.
And kind of start to expand. Things are going to fall into place over time. Like you might not need to know everything right now, but like you're going to get to a point thinking, damn, what is this? How do I fix this problem? And then you're going to scour that endless library of YouTube, and then you'll find something and it'll help.
Yeah.
When you went to, like, from the moment that you came up with Creative Brew, how long did it take you to get that first episode done?
Good question. Because I came up with the ideal, it was around November, December of 2017.
Okay.
And I started, I believe, like January of that next year. It was like probably the first, second week of January.
Oh, damn, you're quick.
Yeah. So once I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. Yeah, I went ahead and once we got everything sort of set up, we just went ahead and just start recording.
Damn.
And went from there. Like I said, first episode was like a little 6 minute,
Okay.
just little inspirational rant, and then it just started sort of expanding and growing from there. So
damn, that's really cool. I didn't it took me, I think, like 6 months, but I researched like tough.
Yeah.
I would just look at it.
Yeah.
No,
See,
see,
I'm one of those where I'm not big at research. Like I love give me big concepts. How do I make this? And then let's experiment. Let's go from there.
Okay.
Yeah. I've never been like I'm gonna research this. Like, no. Like give me big concepts. How do I make a podcast just straight up? And then all right, let's figure out how to do it. And then.
Well, I mean, on that level, on that note, I would definitely say. Maybe that's what you're supposed to be doing then. Like the podcast is what you're supposed to be doing, because even for me, when I did coffee, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. It's like, this is what I'm going to do, however long it's going to take.
Yeah.
But then, and I just dove like head first. That's it. And then it was like, 5, 6 years later, I don't know how long it's been now. When I left my last job, it was immediate, like, I'm starting my business.
Yeah.
Caffeine and Green is going to become a roasting company. And there was no question. It was literally by the next week, I think I had made it an LLC and just started like researching. This is what I got to do. I started making calls, doing this like boom, 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 boom. And then to your point, I think even though it was 5 or 6 years now that it took me to get to this point, I did the research, I did the studying and all these things. The only thing I jumped in head first was just doing the roasting, because like, dude, I know this in and out. I know the business side of it. I know how to roast. So it's like maybe kind of the same thing, but you really didn't know. And I mean, same thing though, when I started doing the podcast, dude, audio engineering, I was like, damn it.
Yeah.
I should have just gone to school for this.
Yeah.
Way easier.
So even with recording at the Kobo Pod, it's definitely helped me out, because like they're working on like just editing the show, and then they give it to me, and then I can produce it from Premiere Pro. I definitely learned how to cut and trim and make movies or make shows or whatever from Premiere Pro. So I did definitely learn new skills. Building this podcast, but they definitely helped me out with a lot of audio issues and just stuff that like I've sort of figured out now that I am just going to just delegate things that it's not my strength. Like I love just coming in and just creating content. I don't want to have to deal with all the stuff on the back end, and not to say I can't do it, because I was editing a lot of the podcast, and then it just got to where it's like I don't have time to. I was like, I've got to just let them do it, and then just give me the file, and then I'll just put the intros, outros, put the music in, and then start distributing it out everywhere. But it's definitely been a journey. It's been a process.
Damn.
I definitely learned a lot, but it really just comes down to just going out and just do the work. You went your own way, and it works great for you. I just been one of those to where like if I go full steam into it, I'm gonna just give me big concepts. How do we make it? And then I'll learn along the way, and then fine tune things and tweak things if I need to. So even now, I sort of see myself like I'll look at like TV shows now, and I see it different now. I'm like, okay, well, how are they? Even like interview shows, like okay, how are they? What questions are they asking? How are they communicating to each other? Just all kinds of things now that I really wasn't aware of, or I didn't think about. Now I see shows in a different light, but I maybe I can do this for my show. Maybe I can do the outro a little different, or the intro a little different. So it's it's definitely been a process.
Oh yeah. Well, you're never done learning, so it's always exciting to just kind of develop new things. I find myself wanting to move on from using the program that I use now to record the show, and I'm like, dude, I don't don't want to use a new program. But then I'm like, I have to learn. And it's like, I'm already learning so many things. I don't want to do it again. But at the same time, it takes maybe now like 50, like,
Yeah.
boom. Okay, got that. Okay, boom, done. And then it's just like, fuck it, just learn another thing, But it's funny how we're definitely different in that aspect because I have to know how it works.
Yeah.
I want to know.
Yeah.
Because if I don't know, I'm going to ask until I find out. So I might as well just find out for myself to do it because I don't want to be like a pester. Like, or pester somebody like, hey, why is this? And we already went over this, bro. And it's because I don't like have to repeat myself.
Yeah.
Especially if I've done it multiple times. It's like, dude, we've already gone over this. Like, why don't you just know now,
Yeah.
But same time, I with that being said, I think that's why I like to cook so much is because not only do I learn the process, but I actually get to touch it in real time.
Yeah.
And the same thing with coffee. It's like you get to touch the beans and really see it.
Yeah.
And there is an understanding. There's something that becomes more clear as you see it being done or you're experiencing things like by touching. So by learning the process and like really becoming a nerd about things.
Yeah.
It's also sacrifice too.
Yeah.
Like you definitely just want the big concepts, get there, get it done, do all this. You have other people who've like nerded out who take care of it, but I feel like I'm a little bit of you, and then I'm also definitely me. It's where it's, I want to do all these things, and I'm always ready. Let's go. I'm ready. But at the same time, I'll be the same dude. I feel I need to stay at home for these 2 hours and study a little bit more, or get a better concept on this, or even if I'm taking a trip out to like Borrego Springs. Where am I going? Why do I want to know how to do this? What's going on here? Like, where is this place? Type of thing, So I don't know. I think I wish I could do what you do, not just fucking go in there and do it. But it's in the back of my head, if I were to do things like that, I just know it's like, why is it going that way? Why is it doing that? Why don't you understand this? Like, and it drives me nuts.
Yeah. It's one of those where I've seen a lot of people, they get stuck, especially if they're trying to like start their own podcast. Like they start getting like all this equipment and be like, okay, I gotta have it sounding like, I gotta have sounded perfect, or I gotta have the right audio quality and everything else. And it's like one of those where like put out one thing first, and then go from there. It's like, don't get all the equipment and then you just sit on it and not do anything. Like,
exactly.
Just put out something. I mean, heck, you can get your phone and record something and put it on Instagram, and you've got an episode. Just record it and just put it out. You've got to make yourself do that. And I think sometimes we can we get that just perfection syndrome where we feel like, okay, we've got to get all the right equipment. It's got to be the right timing. And
well, people are scared of being scared.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think jumping, for you, it doesn't seem like you have that problem. But I think most people don't even want to, like, they don't even feel comfortable being scared. They're like, oh, I'm going to be, no, I'm done. But at the same time, you seem like you're just like, yeah, I'm going to jump in, even though even if it doesn't seem like you're scared, but.
Oh, I'm scared half the time.
Dude, I'm scared all the
time. Yeah, it's one of those where you learn how to sort of sit in that just being uncomfortable. You learn to sit in it. I mean, just with jiu-jitsu and wrestling, like, you learn to sit, learn to be in those uncomfortable positions until it's normal for you. And once you're comfortable in those situations, then the things that you thought was stressful or thought was hard, once you shift your perspective on things, it's just part of the process of growing. And once you get used to it, then, it's like, why was I so, stressed out about this? It's just one of those where you just grow. The things that even 10 years ago, the things that if we went back 10 years into the things that used to stress us out, I'd probably laugh at it now. So it's just one of those, and even 10 years from now, the things that I'm stressing about now or thinking about, 10 years from now, like you really thought that was a struggle.
Big deal.
Yeah. So it's just one of those, like, we just find our ways to, get out of our comfort zone, get uncomfortable, and learn something new, get better. I think sometimes we just fall victim to, doing that same old thing day in and day out. And sometimes we wake up and it's like December 31st, 2021, and we did nothing. And that's one of those where it's like, and not to say I know a lot of people that they love New Year parties and things like that. It's start of the new year, and it's just one of those where, like, I think a lot of people just have to sort of shift their perspective on things. It's like, what if you're struggling about something, maybe you're thinking about, hey, I really want to do this, I really want to do this, and like people tend to start like that New Year's Day. They're like, all right, we're gonna go. It's like, well, what if tomorrow is your New Year's Day? Like, what if tomorrow, okay, like you're gonna start the new year of 2021 right now, and let's go. We still got another like eight months. Hey, what can you do in eight months? So it's just one of those. Yeah. So it's just one of those where, just constantly, trying to get better. I think I'm always gonna be driven. I think it's just sort of part of who I've been. But at the same time too, I'm starting to get more mindful of, really thinking about my relationships, thinking about the things that matter. Why am I doing it? And then knowing that, I can always change my story. Like, I don't have to do this forever. Like, if I feel like, hey, maybe I want to make a new shift into something, I could just start slowly but surely shifting toward the new direction. And I think I find myself doing that more. I love doing the podcast. I told my wife, I was like, if I get paid for just doing this podcast, I'd do the podcast. So this is one of those where like I said, I love connecting with people like you and others, and just sort of sharing stories. I've always been a storyteller. Even with my grandkids, they always want me to tell them a story. So I tell them off the bat, tell them a story about a made up character. I've got like probably 5 or 6 made up characters just from telling bedtime stories. But it's just one of those where, I'm always interested in seeing what makes people, what makes you, what things fell into place, what was the hero's journey per se, to where you had to, you rose and then you had to fall to get back up again and get to where you need to go. So those are things like that. Like I love talking about. I love hearing others speak their truth and tell their story. And I think those are some of the little things that drive me. Aside from other things I'm working on, I think that's what the Creative Brew is about. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. I like that. When you were like, you started the podcast, you were doing it, you're like, okay, 2 months in, were you scared to go approach the first guest? Like, you knew who the first guest was and you're like, hey, do you want to do it? Was it like a homie, or was it, or I mean, I guess, wow. let me rephrase that. Because you said the first episode was just you. So I'll rephrase it. Were you scared when you asked your first guest? Like, oh my God, like, who is this fool? Like,
yeah, golly, I'm trying to go back because I think like the first maybe 7 episodes, like I was doing like little solo episodes on certain topics, and then I finally had reached out like on one of my first guests, and for the most part, I mean, everybody that I've ever asked has been down for it. They were like, hey, yeah, let's connect, let's do it. So yeah, I mean, just reaching out, and like I think probably the biggest fear is like, okay, who am I gonna reach out to? And they don't really know me, so just really figuring out ways to reach out to them, sort of create that connection and that relationship with them, and then see if they are open to jumping on the podcast. And it's just one of those where a lot of the people that I've had on for episodes, I've created, relationships with, and, I'm always reposting and resharing out like old videos from past episodes and tagging them. But, it's is sort of amazing that, all the relationships you sort of create from, just from building your own platform. And that was one of the things, I told my wife, is like, I had a hard time sort of networking, I was like, what if I can just build a platform to bring people to my platform and sort of obviously I wanted to highlight and share what they're doing, but at the same time too, sort of create those relationships. And I think that's been really starting to happen now.
And I mean, yeah, 2 years you're creating your own network. You end up just making it happen.
Yeah.
I mean, that's inspiring, especially you're from Tennessee, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember we've talked about this before, but you made it out. You came all the way out here. You basically didn't know anybody. You started tagging people and just through Instagram and all this stuff. And then you grew it to now where you're at episode 94. You have this network of people. Have you started to see your network kind of like, I guess it would be interchangeable, but start to, I guess interchangeable. Damn it, I can't think of the word right now. But like, basically, your network starts to work within itself.
Yes.
Meaning like homies that you didn't. They're like, oh, like I knew that Quantal like said you were on his show, and like I just wanted to reach out because and then they end up working together.
Yeah, I've started to see it a lot now where I'll bring people on for like roundtable episodes, and people end up getting other people's contact information or following them on Instagram, and then they end up following on things they're doing and creating connections like that. So it's pretty cool seeing people from different perspectives, different backgrounds, sort of connecting and getting a new contact, getting a new relationship. So yeah, I've seen it multiple times on my podcast, which is pretty amazing. So actually one of the lady I was talking to, past guest, Kim, she's a musician, and she's entrepreneur, got all kinds of little things going. But I think she was like on episode 13, and we were talking about it, and she was like, "Yeah, you were the first one that put me on." Like, I was just about to release my first song, and like you were literally the first one that reached out to me and promoted me, and like from there that was how people started to catch wind of as far as what she was doing. And so I was like, things like that, like that makes me feel like, okay, I'm going the right direction.
Sweet.
So
damn, that's really, really cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I was like, wow, I didn't even know that. It's like, but it's just one of those where I'm a believer in, like, once you plant those seeds, it's once you plant it, you just don't know what could come from it. It could be years later and a great opportunity pops up because of something that you did for someone else and helped them out and gave them some kind of value. All that stuff comes back in some ways.
It's funny, that triggered just like a little memory I had from the other night. It was my homie Ray Ray's birthday on Tuesday, and we went to dinner, and we're sitting at dinner, and my homie Theo is sitting next to me on my left, and I don't remember how we got on the subject, but he's like, "Dude, I remember when like you and Ray Ray used to live in this apartment back in PB," and I had completely forgot that me and Ray Ray had lived together when we were like early 20s. Yeah. I don't even remember how old we were. But I remember that apartment. And I was, sponsored and doing that whole skate thing. But he went in the bathroom. He's like, "Dude, you're the first skater I ever saw that was like taking care of his body." And he was like, who you cared. Like you were skating, everybody knew you were sponsored or whatever. Yeah. But he's like, you were taking care of yourself. I was like, what gave that away? And he said, he opened up the cupboard or something like that, and he saw glucosamine and some like other vitamins. And I was like, well, yeah, bro, like my mom gave these to me like since I was a kid. She was like, if you're gonna jump down stuff, you need to take this. So she gave it to me like starting to, it had been like 11, 12 or something. I don't even know. But he was like, yeah, man, that completely changed how I thought about things, and it was all because of you. And it was like you did that for me. And I had never heard that story at all. And we're older now. Yeah. And he has 2 kids and a beautiful wife, and like he's living that life. He has a great life. Yeah. But I think it's those little things, kind of your point, that you like, not even like planting a seed, but just little things that'll come back to you later in life that are just like, oh, dude, that's super rad. Like I had no idea I had that effect on you. And later that night, because I think a lot, and I tend to overthink quite a bit. I'm in there quite a bit. And for some reason, him telling me that really got me thinking. And that night I went home, and I was sitting alone in my apartment, and I thought, I was like, damn, that's not something significant, but that's something that somebody you did for them unintentionally, or they saw something in you that they liked. And the thought that came to my head, I don't hope it sounds morbid or depressing, but it's like, man, if I were to die, like, tomorrow or whatever, like, he would always know about that and I would have never known. Or like it's something, maybe he decided to say something at like a I don't know what they call those things when you die, when people are awake, saying something like these. And I just think about these scenarios and I was like, this is kind of weird. But at the same time, I just think about some things like that, because I've had so many friends pass away that there's things that some of them I got to talk to randomly, and then some of them I never talked to them again. It was like, damn, I wish I would have been able to say something.
Yeah.
So it's, I don't know, planting the seeds and then also having this effect on people that you have unbeknownst to you. Like, even just like, say we were in passing and I was just like, nah, man, don't talk to me today, or like something like that. That's another thing. It can have the complete opposite effect. Go the other way. It's like, no, that dude's an asshole. Like, kind of thing. But it was like, maybe you just caught me on a bad day or something. But it's I don't know. I think that was kind of one thing I've been not tripping on, but just thinking a lot about this past week. Kind of what you were saying earlier in the podcast too, about like, the things that used to stress you out 10 years ago. To be honest with you, I don't really remember what stressed me out then. It was probably something to do with skating.
Yeah.
And not having enough money, and
Yeah.
not wanting to work and to party all the time. Not something that was of any real significance to what I'm doing now in my life.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. Like, there's also, I don't even think you need to go back 10 years. I mean, even just pre-pandemic.
Oh yeah.
I remember if I had to work a bar shift after, like, and I'm the head roaster, like, why am I working a bar shift? Oh, because you're the manager of the shop. And I would get like super salty, and then I would be like, nah, and it's like, that was, not even 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
And now, maybe it was because of the pandemic, but now I don't care. I'll be on bar all damn day. It because I want to see people. Dude, you literally can be stuck in your room doing nothing. I would rather sleep the damn floor and talk to my homies and have a good time and listen to music. Yeah. So 10 years, it's a lot. 2 years for me, I think that's probably more realistic, because I think a lot of stuff has changed, especially after the pandemic.
Yeah.
Not just for me, but for everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think to your point, just even pre-pandemic stress is like, not anymore. It's totally different now. There's definitely, I think, at least for myself, I speak for myself when I say that I am so much more happy in terms of just the quality of life and how I am affecting people, and like, your energy supersedes you, like, or precedes you, I should say, not supersedes you, but precedes you. In the sense where if you really can walk into a room and people either know you're there, or they're like, oh, fuck, you're here. Like, kind of bummed,
You're here.
Yeah. It's like,
you.
Brian's coming. God, go away, Brian, or something like, sorry. No hate to any Brian's out there, but just, like, and you can just feel that on people.
Yeah.
And so why not just be a better version of that? Just be happy. Even if somebody's salty and they're pissed, dude, it has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at the same time, just the other day, somebody said some shit to one of my homies, and I was like, what? I was, kick his ass. Let's go get him. But it was like, you can't talk to my homie like that, kind of thing. But other than that, always trying to be happy. But, I definitely think perception and how things have changed, I think it's always better to be positive.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Very true.
Have you found that with the podcast now, you have a bigger aspirations for what you can do, maybe like for the 100th episode, especially now that things are opening back up? Do you want to do like a party, a celebration?
Yeah, I thought about that, and I was like, man, I would really love to do a party. I wouldn't call myself like the ultimate show host or anything. Sometimes partying for me is like sitting back and like let me draw or read, and with a cup of coffee. Like that's I like that. Or like we're talking about stuff. We're around like a fire pit and we're hanging out, got a beer and chilling out. Like that is a party for me. But yeah. Honestly, my wife asked me about that. She's like, "What are you gonna do for your 100th episode?" And I was like, I don't know yet. I would love to do a party. Free reign. I would love to do a party with everybody that I've done an episode with. Come on in and do some kind of crazy 100th episode event or something like that. That would be awesome. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do that or not, but it might be something. Maybe I might get like a few like small group or something like that, and do some kind of 100th episode like party or something like that. Maybe have some music or something there. I wouldn't mind doing that. That'd be cool.
The turn up would be fun.
Yeah.
Have you really been? I mean, like, well, for you, having a beer and it would be like good fun. It's like, damn, dude, that's really cheap date, dude. That's really. Do you have like an idea of where you'd want to do it at? Like, would you want to do it up here in Oceanside?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely one in Oceanside.
Do it at Bagby if they're real.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'd have to check around and see. I mean, I know I've started getting started creating some relationships with a few restaurants around here, but still trying to figure out where I would do that at. We'll see. I'm gonna have to look around and see who might be interested in sort of hosting a little Creative Brew party, and have some beers, and a little food, some music, and do that. So.
Have you thought about who the guest is going to be, or do you want to do it live? Like,
honestly, I would love to do some kind of like live event.
Nice.
I was like, heck, I don't even know who the guest would be. I was like, let me just invite a whole group of people that's been on the show and help me, celebrate 100 episodes and connect with each other and create some new relationships there and do something like that. So. Even now, I mean, I've been starting to get some musicians and stuff on the podcast now. So, yeah, having them maybe play some music and everybody just hanging out, having a good time. So, and doing like a little live event type deal. That'd be cool.
Do you have all of the episodes or your guests planned out up to 100? So you got 99 dialed.
Yeah, I've got the next 5 pretty much about the next 5 episodes sort of dialed in. As far as who I've got on there, Kim, she was 94. So right now I've got about 5 episodes that I know like these people are gonna be on. So going into like episode 99.
Nice. How? I mean, like if you're planned out 5, I mean, how are you doing one podcast a week?
Pretty much. Now, recently, probably the last couple of weeks, I've been starting to ump the ante a little bit. So now I've been coming in and like recording, like including some Zoom video episodes too. I've been starting to record like probably about 2 a week right now. So I've got stuff that like I've recorded that I hadn't like released yet. So now starting to record like twice a week. Now usually I would like record like once and then that would be it. Now I'm starting to record like twice and then batch so many episodes to where I can just release them whenever I need to. So starting to up the ante a little bit. At the same time too, I've got to make sure I balance it out because I've got some things that I'm trying to do with the show as far as membership stuff and trying to create like a sort of membership thing for people to help invest in the show because there's so many things I'm wanting to do.
Like a Patreon almost?
Yeah, something like that. So I've actually got a page set up. It's at buymeacoffee.com/Quantal Langford. So that's like my membership page. So if like I think it's like $8 a month, like you pretty much help invest in the show, and I'll be putting on like bonus content and all kinds of things like that. So now like sometimes like I'll get on my show and like I usually trim it out, but sometimes I'll get on my show and like I'll just start rapping or freestyling or just singing. My wife don't like me singing at the house, so like I'm just gonna sing on my show. So usually they sort of trim it out.
Your wife doesn't like you singing at home?
No, so I was like, well, I'm just gonna sing on my show. So I'll be like, hey, this is the Creative Brew with Dr. Q. So it's like I'll just like do wild stuff like that, and then they usually trim it out. But yeah, it's just you might get like some gag reels like that on the on the membership side, and then obviously getting some content as far as some things to help entrepreneurs and creators, and so yeah, that's something I'm trying to slowly but surely I'm trying to build there and help sort of invest in the shows so I can go out and create more value for people. So that's what I'm trying to do.
It's funny. It's that you're talking about like financially being supported by a podcast. I recently met I guess that would just be like I met an influencer.
Mm-hmm.
Cool girl. Her name was it doesn't matter what her name is. Doesn't matter. But I met her and we were talking, and she does that for a living, her social media, and like that's how she's making her money.
Yeah.
She's an influencer to the fullest, but she's so smart about it. She has her own her own cookie business, and she's killing it. And so when we would talk, I would be like, how are you doing this? Like, how are you utilizing this? How long did it take you to get here? And certain things like that. And then, I'm asking her about her job and how she's doing this, because that's like, dude, that's so 2020. It's so 2021. Like, or just whenever influencers became a big thing. It's like, I don't understand how you do this, but you're doing it. And to me, that's fucking badass.
Yeah.
The point that I'm trying to make, though, is that after I was asking these questions to her, she asked me about what I've been doing. And she's like, I understand, you're roasting and you're doing all these things. But she's like, well, your podcast, which is what this all started from. I mean, basically everything I'm doing now is started off from the podcast. Mm-hmm. She's like, do you monetize your podcast? And I was like, nah. And she's like, well, why not? And I was like, because I literally don't want anybody to tell me what to do. Like, in my opinion, you being a business owner, you're doing that because you don't want anybody to tell you what to do.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're switching out a person who's paying you for a group of people who are paying you.
Yeah.
And those are you're telling you what to do. They're like, hey man, we want this. It's like, hey, got you. I'll make that whatever you need. Kind of thing. So with that being said, though, it's like the podcast truly is, to me, this is like my one thing.
Yeah.
Like, I will just bend over backwards. I will, for pretty much anybody who needs coffee, and like, oh, you want this? I'll make it taste like that.
Yeah.
No problem. But when it comes to the podcast, I've had people who are down, and shout out Thorn, everybody who's ever supported Caffeine and Green along the way, that I've gotten, so much free alcohol. So it's like, for all the guests that never paid for alcohol, I had spaces to do this. It's like, it might not be financially sound, but like I have a space to record. I have, alcohol provided, weed a lot of the time. So it's like, dude, I don't pay for weed. Like, oh my God. Like, that is so amazing. Winning. But like, that all the jokes aside, also, I think for me, what I also wanted to say was that, doing the podcast, for me, it's the connections that are being created, and the conversations, and the in-depth. I was going to say in-depth conversations, but the way you like people open up, and really get to tell you. And even though it's like, we have this big space that we're recording in right now, it's a very intimate thing when we're talking about like experiences that you've had, how you've been successful, how you became successful, or even just like, say somebody had like a crazy story to tell and how it affected and it changed the course of their life or something like that.
Yeah.
All of these things have become, I guess, emotionally beneficial as opposed to financially beneficial.
Yeah.
So I think that, and it means a lot, because everything else that I'm doing in my life has to do with money.
Yeah.
And to be honest, like, I'm driven by money, and I love money. Because if money can't buy you happiness, but it can buy a lot of sick shit.
Yeah.
And afford you to do a lot of cool things, whether travel the world or whatever.
Yeah.
But at the same time, to be able to do something that is like what I truly want, which is to just give away something for free. It's like, it's giving away a little part of myself. It's giving a little part away of the person who I'm interviewing.
Yeah.
Because who knows, somebody around the world is listening to this podcast right now, and they're like, damn, I wish I could be there one time, or I wonder what it'd be like to be here,
Yeah.
or something like that. And it's just two homies just talking shit.
Yep.
But at the same time, for somebody else, it's like maybe this is what they needed to hear.
Yeah.
So it's like, dude, to get back to the original question, it's like, is it financially, like, are you making a profit off the podcast? It's like, nah.
Yeah.
Do I want to? Sure. That'd be cool one day.
Yeah.
But it definitely, as long as it stays the way it is right now, I'm super happy with it. Like,
yeah.
And plus, I love doing it. To make myself busy and to do something that's going to benefit, even maybe somehow it benefits you, because you're like, maybe it gives you a different perspective on something.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think it's badass. Because, like, really, to really give away something, and, like, you can really feel, to me personally, I feel that you can feel somebody's heart and love through their actions and what they're trying to do. And if there's no financial motivation behind it, they're really doing it out of, like, a love, or they're giving you time, like their valuable time to sit here and have a conversation with you. I don't know, man. Time is everything right now.
Yeah.
That's I think one thing I've started to learn, especially with 2020. Like, dude, March 13th, 2020, it was like, are you fucking serious? 2 months. And then before you know it, it's 2021, and it was like, yo, we're still in a lockdown. Like,
yeah,
you're gonna use that time to change your life. This is the only time we're gonna get this probably in our life. We literally got a restart.
Yep.
Did you use it or did you not? And now it's like, if you used it and you're trying to succeed off of it right now, your life has literally changed.
Yeah.
At the same time now, time is of the most valuable, like, commodity in my eyes.
Yeah.
If I wasted time on you, not you specifically, but just like if I wasted time on you, bro, I'm never getting that time back.
Yeah.
And to me, that's so disrespectful. Like, don't waste my time, bro.
Yeah.
Don't,
I think more people are starting to get more aware of that. The things that used to, gobble up all their time. I think now, I think for some people, they're starting to be like, nope, cut off. I don't, that's it. Like, I don't have time for that. Especially when you see all the people that, passed away over the course of the year. And, it's like time. I mean, you can't get it back. It's just one of those where you be mindful of what you can do right now. And if you have a gift or ability, or you got a passion or something that you're being compelled to do, then or you feel like it's going to be beneficial for you and your family or society, then you need to do it. Figure out ways to take action towards going that direction now. Because you may not get that chance tomorrow.
Dude, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw this, what got me thinking this way, one of my favorite shows that I watch is Chef's Table. And I've watched the whole series all the way through.
Yeah.
But I rewatch it because this makes it sound like so poeticized or something like that. But it's like, every time I've watched it, there's a new chef that maybe I thought was like, oh, this guy's kind of a dick or something like that. But then I rewatched the series and I rewatched that certain episode and I start to understand them, because now certain things have happened to me in my life where I'm like, oh, what they're saying makes so much more sense.
Yeah.
And I understand what they're going through or what they're trying to get across. And I saw this chef who, you have to take all these crazy like planes to get to him, and he's on this little island, and it's but then all of a sudden he has like his own private thing and he flies anywhere in the world, and it's like he's always traveling, he's always doing these things.
Yeah.
And he's always been this way. He has like grown daughters, but then he has like a brand new like 2 or 4 year old daughter, and he's like, this is my girlfriend, we don't see each other but maybe once a week or once a month, and we love it that way. And they're still having this amazing relationship because he gets to do what he wants and travel the world, and he'll come back and she's there raising the baby. But he's old now, he's like 60s, 70s, and she's not that age, so but he said this one thing, that he had this close friend who was like his brother, side by side, some 20, 30 years, something like that. Mm-hmm. And they had a falling out, and a couple years went by, and the guy, his partner, was like, hey, like, man, like, you don't like me no more? Like, what happened? Like, we used to be so close. He's like, yeah, we did. We had that moment. we had our falling out, and he said, I realized I didn't want to give you my time anymore. And he said, time is of like the biggest importance. He's like, if I don't want to give you my time, if I don't want to spend time with you, there's no reason for you to be in my life.
Yeah.
Because he's like, there's not enough time to give enough to do all the things that you want to do with the people that you love. So like every second of every day really does mean something.
Yeah.
Whether it's financial, emotional, whatever it is, time literally is like money in every aspect.
Yeah.
It's money, like it's emotional money. It's financial money. It's what are you doing for yourself? How are you benefiting yourself? How are you benefiting others? What are you doing with your time? Like, come on. But yeah, I find so much inspiration in that TV show because hearing the passion that people are talking about things.
Mm-hmm.
I wish we could make coffee look as dope as Chef's Table. I mean, you kind of can, but you kind of can't just because there's so much more to do with food.
Yeah.
But man, the passion, I feel it. And I love hearing how they talk about food because that's how I feel about coffee.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But because it could still be so different. And like you could just crash and burn in coffee. It's like, fuck. It's over roasted. It's too green. It's under roasted. But then you get like that one. You're just like, oh, hell yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, this is the one. This is it. This fire. Like, yo, some people are gonna be pumped. You know? It's so crazy to me too when people like I met a roaster today, self-taught.
Mm-hmm.
He's never jumped off more than a sample roaster, and he has these huge dreams and aspirations. And I was like, hey man, just be wise. Like, I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just being real. Like, he says he has all these connections. I was like, talk is cheap, bro. Talk is super cheap. It was just yesterday when I was having an epiphany. What does that phrase really mean? Talk is cheap.
Yeah.
What does that really mean? Like, and I never really thought about it. Like, talk is cheap. Yeah, it's cheap. It's like anybody can talk.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like being a business owner, and people are always like, yo, like I have these big goals, these dreams, these aspirations. Like, yo, I want, and you can be a part of that, like, oh, they promise you these things. And maybe if you're not an experience or if you haven't been around people who bullshit you, maybe you get suckered in and then you get your hopes up and you get let down.
Yeah.
Oh, but as you've gotten older and you start to develop these walls or protections or against like bullshit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You realize that talk is so cheap because anybody can do it and people can say they're going to do something and they never fucking do it.
Yeah.
And the worst ones are the ones who like, hey, Quantal, how you doing, G? Oh, man, we got to do this. We're really going to collab. We're going to be great. And then like nothing ever happens. And then we run into it. Dude, what happened? Like, yo, I told you we need to do this. Bet. Like, we're going to get this. And then it's like, dude, every time I see you now, it's just like, oh, fucking Kano's here. Like, he's always, watch. He's going to say, oh, well, we should hook up. We should link. Da-da-da, and then nothing. It's like, those are the worst, bro.
Yeah, I'll get those every once in a while. I really don't get too much, but you get a lot of those young guys that, hey, let's do this, let's do that, and you learn real quick. It's like let me see you, and I want to see you execute. Just do it. If you want no collab, hey, let's meet up. Let's talk over ideals. Let's get it going. It's like don't tell me something, and then now I used to get. I don't know necessarily frustrated, but like now it's like, like whatever. Like I know people are going to talk, and then you get the ones that, real quick, there's like, hey, they do something that it's going to get put into action. And, you just figure out ways to sort of get around more of those people. Because the more that you, even with Caffeine and Green, the more that you grow that brand, the more that you're going to get exposed from a negative and positive aspect. You're going to have a lot of people start gravitating towards you because you're doing your thing, and then you're going to have a lot of people, a lot of bullshitters. It's gonna be like, hey, let's collab, let's do this. I see you doing this. I'm trying to do my coffee brand too, and we should collab. And I was like, well, it's like you hadn't even earned the right to even talk to you because you didn't put in the work yet. It's like, so I think now I'm like, okay, yeah, what I thank you for your energy, but there's things right now that I'm trying to do.
Dude, it's so funny. You're the second person this week that said that to me. I was sitting next to one of my friends at dinner, at the same dinner where I was sitting next to my homie Theo, and we were talking, and she said, "No, I think the one thing you just have to be aware of is people trying to take advantage of you now because people are starting to see what you're doing."
Yeah,
and I think. I mean, I don't worry about it because I could see through bullshit. Like, bro, I'm not worried about no fucking bullshitters trying to come at me. Like, it's so funny. And my response was the circle that I really keep, like my tight knit circle. It's like seriously 2 people.
Yeah.
And I was like, the 2 people are sitting at the table right now. So I was like, I'm not really worried about it too much. Like, yeah, people are going to start approaching me, which people have. And some of them I'm just like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
And then some of them like, oh, I'm interested in this. Okay, cool. Let's talk. I'm down. Let's hop on a call.
Yeah.
And it was so funny hearing like one of my best friends say to me like, just be careful. Like people are gonna start trying to take advantage of you. And I was like, they can, but I was like, at the same time, it's like, what are you willing to do? At the same time, it's like there's calculated risks, right?
Yeah.
It's like maybe I don't personally like this person, man or woman, but I know they have a good product and I have a good product, and together we can make some money.
Yeah.
It's going to be a very transactional relationship.
Yeah.
Same time, there's like the benefit of having your own business is that you get to choose who you work with.
Yeah.
If people come to you, you can be like, no, I'm sorry. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you thinking of me, but there is other people. There's plenty of roasters in the city.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But luckily, I mean, I haven't had to turn anybody away because everybody I've worked with has been like phenomenal.
Yeah. But
there's are these things, and it is starting to become interesting. Like certain people will hit me up for certain things, and I'm like, this is weird,
Yeah.
But hey, whatever. I still, any publicity is good publicity. If people are looking, they might not be hitting the double tap, but they see in it. So it is what it is. But it's definitely, I would definitely have to say, there's always snakes in the grass. There's always people in there, and those like backhanded, snide comments that people will make. Ironically, I'm not going to get into details about the certain situation that's kind of risen over the last week.
Uh-huh.
Has nothing to do with me. It literally has nothing to do with me, but it has to do with some of my friends.
Yeah.
And it just seems to me like there's always going to be people that see what you're doing, and no matter what you do, no matter how nice you treat them or show them respect, they're just going to always hate. And some people like take it really, really far. And if you don't give them what you want, you see their true colors kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's, it's happened to me in the past at other jobs where like other people who, and I'm definitely going to leave them nameless because I know who they are and they know who they are. But there's been like other people who weren't even roasters who like tried to come in and like talk some shit to me about my coffee. And I was like, excuse me? Like, do you roast? No, you don't. Okay, that's what I thought. And it's like, again, I'm not like a super PC kind of guy. I will tell you to fuck off. Like, yo, that's just how I am. But I was like, it's so funny because this person who like said this to me was like smiles all the time and like is like so nice to everybody. But then it was like, oh, this Connell dude, he's a dick and like, or he's rude, and then his coffee kind of sucks. I was like, he'll figure it out. It's like, okay. Fuck you.
Yeah.
But and it was like, you go around these like these little bitch tendencies that people have. They like won't tell you directly to your face, so they'll tell a person that they know that you talk to, and then that person is still this middle person is kind of being a bitch too, and they're like, oh, you know what this person said? It's like, hey, I'm right here. You could say something to me, but that's why I don't worry about snakes in the grass, because like I will just react. Yeah. I won't react like physically because I'm not stupid, but I will react verbally. Yeah. You're done. Like you're done, son. But I mean, that's why I'm not too worried about it. But I have started to feel that there's been some people who have hit me up, and I'm like, dude, nah, son. Like,
Yeah.
kick rocks. Like, why are you hitting me up? Like,
Yeah. It's always gonna be those people. I mean, the more the bigger you get. I mean, you're just that's the price you pay. Sometimes is that you got to get put in a spotlight because you're doing your thing. You're growing so fast, and then you're gonna have people that wish they were doing the thing that you were doing. And it's gonna make them more spiteful and come at you even more. And it's nothing. A lot of times, I was like, oh, I was like, not say everybody gets their negative feedback on things, but you just used to. I mean, I would take it personal. I really don't even take it personal anymore. I know it's just sometimes the cost of business. Sometimes and it happens. So now I've sort of found myself figuring out ways of just sort of not really reacting so much, but just sort of observing and sort of responding in a way that that's going to be productive for everything. Because it could be real easy for me to, because everybody thinks like even initially meeting me, like half the people that I've trained at the compound, they were like scared to death of me initially. But I was like, I'm the nicest person you'll ever meet.
You're really nice.
And but it's just one of those to where and I used to be. I was really competitive. Back college, high school. I used to have bad temper, and
Really?
yeah, bad. It's like don't let me lose. Don't let me lose a game of like basketball. Is I could be ruthless.
Really?
And so now it's just like you grow up. I really think even me personally, doing a lot of just a lot of inward reflection. I've been doing a whole lot better learning how to just responding better to situations. If someone comes up to me and says something, I'm like, okay, it's like I understand you're mad, but it's just like if it triggers you, then there's something in them that you may feel like it might be some kind of truth to it if it triggers you somehow.
Damn.
And
cutting deep right there.
Yeah, and a lot of times it's like if you can get to where you could just observe it and be like, okay, I'm sorry you feel like that. I don't know what you want to get from this, but if we can sort of change this into a positive light and sort of make it better, if there's something that I did wrong, like I said, I apologize, and you figure out ways to resolve it. I think once people can get to that point, a lot of the feedback, negative feedback, you just take it for what it is. You never take it personal. Even with someone giving you all these accolades, I'm like, hey, you're great, you're doing your thing. That's awesome. But this is something I've been doing before I got the accolades. So your positive or negative feedback shouldn't affect me because I'm still this is what I've been doing for years, even before you knew me. So not to say, and everybody's human. Like I said, you got to get, something's gotta hit you the wrong way emotionally at times. Especially if someone's close to you, they know you, and they sort of hit you at give you a little low blow. They know you so well. But yeah, you get to where especially if you're doing your thing. You just want to do your best to sort of respond and observe. Hey, look, that's great. I thank you for loving the coffee. Thank you for loving the brand. I'm still gonna keep doing my thing. I'm still getting better. Yeah. Someone gives you that negative feedback. Hey, thank you. We'll do our best to sort of take that into consideration and see if it helps with you building a better product. If not, you toss it. If it's not the feedback that not gonna help you in somehow, some way or fashion, throw it out. Just delete it, because people got to be the people. They see people rise up, and a lot of people they don't. They go after people because it disrupts them. When they see someone doing their thing, it sort of reflects back to them saying, "Well, I could have been doing this, or I could have been doing my own thing," and now I'm salty and mad, so I'm gonna go after the person that I know that's closest, that I know that they're trying to do something out there. They're trying to build something. I'm going to put my frustration on them so I don't have to look back at myself.
Dude, I like how you do that, because for me initially now, I definitely I've started to partake in that. But one thing that I'm the worst when it comes to this sometimes. And somebody tries to give me some shit and they actually talk shit in my face, which I love. I start to laugh.
Yeah.
And I laugh in their face. And oh my God, talk about pissing. You want to see somebody get hella pissed, hella fast. They're like letting it go on you and you're just, look at your nostrils. Or just like losing my mind laughing, like crying laughing.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you're that mad.
Yeah.
You're that mad about this. Like, yo, I don't know. But now I also at the same time, I think I learned from that as well. And because to your point, I was going to say is that on the flip side of that, somebody who knows you so well and they can do it like a little low blow.
Yeah.
There's people that know you so well or that, are your closest circle. And it's like, dude, all you want to do is like not make them happy, but like it only matters what they say.
Yeah.
It's like, does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's like, I obviously care about every single person that, has been involved or has, helped me along the way without doubt.
Yeah.
But along all that being said, it's like, I'm only trying to impress myself. I'm not trying to impress anybody else, but there are like a handful of people that it's like, oh, like they're there or they saw or like, or they said like, good job. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Like,
Oh yeah.
They matter. And it's coming from the people that matter the most when they're like the happiest that you're doing you and like you can feel it. And it's a genuine, like, damn, I'm so happy for you.
Yeah.
That's, I think is just as good. Or because I love negative feedback, like I said, but when you actually get that, I guess recognition from the people that matter the most, I think that's just the most rewarding experience that you can have.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's great. Everybody else liked it, but did you like it? It's like, yeah, I loved it. It's like, well, fuck yeah, then. And that's all that matters because at the end of the day, it's like those were the people that like were your original people, right? Yeah. The people who helped you get as good as you are. They saw the process from start to finish.
Yep.
They've seen the trials and tribulations, and now you're killing it. And it's whether that's wrestling, jiu-jitsu, podcasting, coffee roasting, they see it and they see you, and when they see you, it's like, oh hell yeah, like all right, let's get it, let's keep it going. And then it's time for them to shine. Yeah. So it's like, hey, let's turn it around and like, what are you doing? What are you embarking on? And like, how can I be there to support you and do these things that will help you get to a level that you feel you deserve to be at? Yeah. I think just as much as I talk shit and like love to talk shit and have fun with my friends and like also be a little crazy sometimes, I think on the exact opposite of that side, I want to be like so loving and just do whatever I can to support the people that I love the most. You know what I mean? Yep. Because God knows they've all been there for me. So it's like, bro, let me be there for you.
Oh yeah.
I
know if I ever get big with everything I've got going, I'm definitely helping out the people that have helped me out in the past. And they, whoever listens to this, they they know the people that's helped me out. They know, who's been there, by my side, that's watched me grow, and watched me still growing into who, I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to become or what I'm in the process of becoming. But I know once I can, once I can get to where, hey, I feel like everything is really clicking, definitely coming back to help out the ones that's helped me out along the years. So I always keep them in mind. So that time comes, it's definitely, I'll definitely be giving them a nice little present when that time comes. So
sick. I mean, that's all you can do, right? I mean, have you by planting these seeds and kind of watching your life kind of develop and unfold in a little bit in the Oceanside area that you've been here now for a couple of years? Yeah. Do you believe you're just like creating these things, or you're creating because you're manifesting and you're actually putting your action to the manifestations that you're doing?
Yeah, I think it's the latter. I think I'm creating and manifesting these things, and it really comes down to putting forth the action. I honestly think a lot of these people have awesome ideals, great ideals. It's just, and they have the ability to actually manifest them. It's just putting forth the sort of focused action to execute on those ideals and making it an actual physical, reality. I think it's hard for a lot of people to sort of do that. I've naturally, it's been, I won't say necessarily it's natural, but it's a little bit more easier for me because I've been drawing since I was a little kid. So I've been used to sort of thinking of ideals and then expressing it on paper, or, doing all these things where I'm constantly manifesting and creating all these things. I've been doing it since I was a little kid. So it's natural for me to be like, okay, I got this ideal. How do I create it? Now it's starting to get more, not necessarily complex, but maybe I think it's one of those where sometimes it can be the, with me too. Sometimes I could have that perfection, and feel like I want to have it. I want to have it just right. Even like working on the book, like I want to have it just right to release. And I'm sort of in conflict with that because like maybe I just need to put it out and then go from there. So this is one of those where hey, even for me, I put out a lot of, inspiration and definitely always, talking to people. I practice, I have to practice it too. I'm constantly practicing it, learning, okay, look, you've been doing this forever. Don't feel like it has to be perfect. Just put it out there and then go from there. So I think it's been easier for me just naturally, just being creative, just learning how to, go from, an ideal of something to drawing it out on paper. It's been a easier evolution, I think, for me than for other people that maybe they're always sort of in their head and they're just trying to figure out how to express it, or how to manifest it. For me, it's just I'm just having to deal with bigger ideals and then learning how to, manifest it or create it in the right way, in the right manner. But I've been doing that since I was little.
How does your brain work, dude?
It's
like, are you seeing like your creations? Like, cause you draw. For anybody who doesn't know, like he can draw very, very well. It's pretty breathtaking how well you can draw. So I'm imagining when you're doing these things, you see them like in real time in your head. Like you're just basically pouring out the idea of what's in there to your paper, right?
Yeah. Sometimes I've already got it. There's a lot of stuff I have sitting there in my mind, but yeah, a lot of times I have it in my mind, and in my brain as far as how I want it. Even if I'm sketching out something, a lot of times I practice so much on the human form that it's sort of easier for me to sort of just I'll sketch around and then see what works, and I can sort of real time I can be like, okay, well, I don't like that, let's sort of keep going to where we sort of evolve it to what it needs to be. But a lot of times I may have something like I've got an image in my mind, and it's already there. I just figure out ways to sort of execute it in the best manner. And a lot of times what I have in my brain doesn't come out like it does on paper or even if I'm creating a logo or something like that. I can have an amazing ideal in my mind, and then sometimes it just like doesn't translate. What I'm having to do now is sort of figure out how I can seamlessly sort of go from that image in my brain and as best as possible relay that in physical form. So I'm trying to figure out ways to sort of fine tune that a little bit better, but it's getting there.
Does it ever come out perfect? I mean, not perfect, but does it ever come out the way you wanted it to come out?
No,
never.
Yeah. Sometimes it comes out like better than what I thought. Sometimes it can like, I was like, it's like my mind is like, I got the image, but it's like when I put it down on paper, it's like, that's not what I'm looking for. So yeah, it's just a constant, like, you figure it out. I think at times there's times where it comes out even better than what I may have imagined.
Okay.
And then there's certain times where like, oh, I got this great idea, I put it down on paper. I'm like, oh Lord, that's horrible. And so yeah, it happens. It happens all the time. But you just keep creating, keep keep fine tuning, keep experimenting. So
Yeah,
that's what you gotta do.
I could not agree more. And honestly, I think that could be like a good like way to end the podcast. Is that it's like, just to your point again. The other day, I was doing like the first orders of morning sesh, and I've roasted it, but it wasn't like I'm like not super familiar with it yet. And it's a different era right now. When I was working at a cafe, I would have a roaster and I could just like in real time, like really fine tune it right away. Boom. I know what I'm doing. But then as of things have adapted and, I rent roaster time until I get my own roaster, you get a couple shots, that's it. It's almost like you're playing baseball with coffee roasting. Yeah. It's like, okay, 3 strikes, you're out. You got an hour on the roaster. You got 3 batches. Yeah. 3 strikes, you're out. Boom. Doesn't matter. This one doesn't matter. You're not getting a home run. It's just like done. All right, there we go. Hope for the best. Yeah. And then you start, I do my little process. And luckily, even though I wasn't like super happy with it, I tried it and I was like, oh, okay, no, this is fine. This is good. Yeah. Went back the next day because as I was leaving the roaster, I was getting more orders and I was like, oh shit. Like, okay, got to go back. Got to roast more. Yeah. Go back, roast more. I cup it today from the second. Yeah. Cause I was in there. Fuck. I remember. I honestly don't know what day it is today. Whatever day I was there, I was drinking the coffee that I had basically from the following day. Mm-hmm. And I had adjusted in real time. I was looking at it and I was like, boom, 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 made my adjustments. Tasted it. I was like, oh, yeah, super stoked on this. This is way easier, but it took me essentially like 4 batches to get it dialed. Yeah. Fine tuning. I don't stress out anymore when I'm not getting to where I want to be. But to me, I think I was like, damn it. Like, I know this coffee is probably better than most. Yeah. But I'm not happy with it. I want it to be where I'm happy with it. But also you have to suck and you have to fail. And it doesn't matter how many years you are. And again, comparing it to jiu-jitsu is that I've heard black belts say before, like even you can get tapped by a blue belt. Yep. You can get caught and just don't even know. Like you're fucking around and boom, all of a sudden like, oh shit, like you got caught. Yeah. That's with everything. And I think we've talked about this before. It's like embracing the suck and just like, oh damn, you're still going to fail. You're still going to mess up. Somebody's going to maybe get that bag of coffee and be like, you know what? This is too acidic and I don't like it. But then somebody's going to get the second batch and be like, damn, this is exactly where I wanted it. This is fire. Yeah. It's all really good people, just saying. But it's just what my point is that just I want to keep failing. I want to keep sucking and I want to do all of that to get better. Yeah. I don't want a participation award because everybody's the best. No, I'm sorry. You're not everybody's the best. Nope. No. And when you fail and when you lose and when you get tapped, when you mess up on a coffee, when you do these things, you become better. You don't lose, you learn. Yeah. And even some of those losses, they are losses, but you still learned. Yeah. And every single day is a learning experience. I never want to not be learning. I don't care how old I get. Like that's just what I have to do. Yep. I have to keep this thing going because it's firing all the time anyway. So you might as well just learn some dope shit along the way. Yeah. I mean, I'll come up with, I'm coming up with ideas all the time, just random, like just stuff where I have no clue how it's even going to be made or built, but I mean that's how you stay young. It's just keeping active, keeping that mind fresh, learning new things. Right now, I mean my wife, she's actually learning to become a yoga teacher, and right now learning, she's teaching me Sanskrit right now. So I'm learning like Sanskrit words. So she'll call them out. She's having to go do the test, but she'll call them out to me, and it helps me to like learn something new. It's just something where constantly trying to get all that knowledge and have absorb that into my everyday way of life, so I can become better and I can give more. So, dude, my man, it's never a boring conversation when I talk to you, Quantal. I swear to God. From the first time that you came on the show, I was like the most unexpected deep conversation that I'd had with a person that I knew nothing about. And each time now, over the last 2 years that we've been on each other's shows, this is no different. Dude, I love it. I love hearing your perspective. I love hearing the positivities, and we talk about it so openly in the sense of like, bro, like, yeah, it's great to be positive, but sometimes you just want to bust some heads.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I'm just kidding. But you know, in all seriousness, but like just the ups and the downs, even when you're promoting a positivity message and doing these things, how you struggle with things and you being scared. And I love that you're open and vulnerable to tell people that, because people think like when you're if you have this image that you're the epitome or you're personifying something that's not correct and it's not real. And it's not that it's not real. It's just you are open on all aspects. You're really how you are, but at the same time, you are just like everybody else in the sense where like, bro, I get scared too.
Yeah.
It's just you tend to take the leap a little bit more.
Yeah. Yep. I've just learned to, take it as a walk of faith, and, you go out there, obviously do the work. That's your real faith, is doing the work, do the actions, execute. You believe you got something in you, you're capable of doing certain things. That's great, but show me your actions.
Yep.
So that's what it comes down to.
The proof is in the pudding, my G.
Yep.
Yes. All right. Quantal, thank you so much, sir. This will not be the last time we're going to have a conversation, guaranteed. And, I'll see you soon, G.
Appreciate it.
Peace. Yes, thank you so much, Quantal. I really appreciate your time, brother. What did I say? An amazing conversation, consistency, creating, manifesting, and then putting in that work and really learning what you're trying to do. I love it. Thank you so much, Quantal. I appreciate your time, brother. And also, guys, all of you people around the world who continue to support Caffeine and Green, listening to on whatever platform, streaming everywhere. I appreciate you guys, and I see you. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Yes. Guys, also, if you haven't, head on over to caffeineandgreenroasting.com today. Check out that Issa blend, that victory lap, that Columbia Wheeler, that new morning sesh. Yes. Guys, please take care of each other. Tell one another that you love each other. Be nice. Help everybody out. Just do something nice. Appreciate y'all. I will see you guys next week. Peace.